Welcome back to another episode of That 20s Show with me, Keanu, Azman. In case you're new to this podcast, welcome. This is the podcast where I'll be talking to different celebrities on the things that they went through when they were in their 20s. So this girl that I have on the line with me, since it's still MCO, we cannot meet each other physically. So she is someone who needs no introduction. She was born in Sarawak, and then she went to London for fashion school for a while, and then she came back, and then suddenly she made it big in music, not just in Malaysia, but internationally as well, primarily in the United States. You might know her songs such as Kantoy, such as Bitter Heart, and a lot of other songs of hers. It is the one and only Zee Avi.
Hello. Welcome to my beach bar.
Oh my God. For those of you who are watching it on YouTube, because, there are people listening on short right now. Too bad because
That's true.
Too bad because you can actually see Zee Avi literally at a bar by the beach, right? It's unfair. I'm in my room and you look at the beach, Zee.
There you go. The wonders of the internet. And if you watch it on YouTube, you should go watch it on YouTube so you can see the makeup that I put on today for Keanu.
Correct. She put in a lot of effort, people. A lot of effort. Normally, you would only see this side of Zee on TikTok, maybe because she's been keeping herself occupied on TikTok.
Oh my gosh, I love TikTok so much. TikTok is better than TV, honestly.
Okay, speaking of that, I do want to ask you a typical question of what have you been busy with throughout this MCO? I think people who have stalked you would have that answer already. But I want to ask you about the TikTok side of your quarantine so far. How many TikToks have you done so far?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I was scrolling through it today and I'm like, wow, I've done so many. What is wrong with me? But there's nothing wrong with TikTok because I'm encouraging all my friends actually who are business owners as well to go on there because there's a lot of ways that you can post TikTok. That you can post different, recipes, you can post beauty tips, you can post many different types of tutorials and laughs.
Yep.
I just go on there because I like doing all the lip syncing stuff.
Same. That's the easiest thing to do because if you ask me to dance, I'm very bad at memorizing the steps. I think you are pretty good about it though, not me.
I'm hashtag over 30s. 24 10 times.
Ayo, why would you reveal your age here? Because I got you on that 20s show. But you know what? Her obsession towards TikTok is one of the reasons why I thought, hey, this girl is okay. Even though she's no longer in her 20s, cough, she is still woke enough. She's still 20s enough to be on the show. So you know what? We're not going to ask you about your music and everything. I think I'll save that for later for the interview. But mainly, we want to know how was Zee Avi back when you were in your 20s? Because just a brief overview about how Zee's journey was in music. You basically dropped your first self-titled album when you were just 24, correct?
23.
23 turning 24. That was the year, right?
22 turning 24.
Ayo. Now my research, already kelawat already, okay? So yes, people.
I think so. Is it the 22 turning 24?
It was
if you did research, then it's probably right. Because my memory is so karat. So, okay, yeah, probably, around there, early to almost kind of mid-20s. But okay. I started writing songs when I was 21, and then all the way up till I was 22. I got the record deal when I was 22, and then signed it when I was 23.
Right.
Yeah. And then my record came out 2009.
Right.
So, yeah.
You dropped your first album in the States.
Yes, both albums.
Both albums in the States. And if I may add, I would say you are the pioneer Malaysian that actually made it big in the US because, of course, everyone knows that Yuna is also a big time star over there. But hers started, I would say, probably slightly after 2010, maybe about 2011 or perhaps 2010 itself, but late 2010. And you started in the early 2000s. So, it was a different generation back then, I would say. Social media was still not a big thing.
No, I didn't. Actually, I joined Instagram quite late as well. But thinking back, I'm oh, the stories I could have posted. But I'm kind of glad actually that social media wasn't as heavy at the time because, oh my God, the stories that could have been posted.
Yikes, you could have been cancelled by now.
You know how to see your sword. Cancel and then revive, then cancel again.
Correct. So you know what, coming back to about your first album just now, so it was a big hit. It was number 2 on the Billboard Top Heat Seekers chart, which is basically like the Billboard 200 but for up and coming artists, right?
Yeah.
Wow, number 2. And in fact, the Associated Press named your album the 9th best album of 2009. And with all of this information, with all these things that you got at such a young age, I'm sure people are like, oh my God, Zee Avi, this Malaysian girl making it big in the US, that is gold. You know, she's living the dream. Siapa je tak nak be famous in the States, man? Like people in LA, semua kenal you, semua. Kalau kat Malaysia pun it's so difficult. Apatah lagi making it big over that side, right? So, you know, these are the perceptions that I believe people on the outside would see. But from Zee Avi yourself, you know, what were the things that went through your mind at such a young age, getting so much already handed to you?
I feel like at the time, you know, it took a while for it to hit me, actually, because everything happened so fast. And I was really young. I was just a baby, you know, and kind of like, you know, like not really kind of like mentally evolved yet to be able to, you know, kind of like navigate through this journey that I have been kind of propelled into in the best way possible. I had like a really great group of people who guided me. But I think, like, honestly speaking, it got to my head a little bit, and like I went through this phase where I was like super bratty, and you know, like I don't know, like I was like I felt like I was like a difficult person
because of the fame.
Because I was really still trying to figure out like my kind of image, like on the outer image.
Right. And how was your image back then when you first started out?
Oh my gosh, I went through so many evolutions, yeah. Like when I first started out, it was still kind of like macam vintagey,
right?
You know? And then after that, I went through like an all black and big hair phase.
Oh wow!
And, like, red lipstick, you know.
Was that
I went through like an all black. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, totally. Like, I think, well, I mean, the all black phase, like, I've had it since I was in A levels, because I was like really heavy into like post-hardcore music and the emo phase.
Right.
So I was like always wearing pink and black everything, like.
Those were the days. Those were the days when it was very
ada macam like coffin handbag, kecoh.
Ada skull design,
harus tu skull
and everything.
Studded belt.
And growing up, I mean, when you went through that phase, I was still in primary school probably, and I saw all this fashion. I was like, ooh, I need to have that. And then when I reached to your age, gone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, that was like, you know, macam the tempias from like the MySpace era at the time, right?
Right. Oh my God, yes, exactly. The angle had to be so atas. You know, now people call it rempit pose, you know. Just how things have changed, really? You know. Just how things have changed.
Oh my gosh.
What was the norm back then?
I have not gotten that memo.
Well, now
like,
as a 20-year-old, I tell you now that's what the 20-year-olds are thinking about these kind of poses, you know. But yeah, you said just now that you went through different phases when you were in your 20s, when you just you know, rose to stardom. Perhaps did you ever have a point where it was just so overwhelming? Because you did say that it was very fast. You know, I think for me myself, because I came in an industry where I'm not making it big in the States, but at the same time, it was. I don't know. I think I didn't plan for this to happen. It was very accidental. I was in my last year of my diploma, and then suddenly I got a call from a TV station and said, "Oh, we want to have you for an audition." And then things just took off from there, and I was like, "Okay." Of course, it was fun at the start because I was like, "Oh my God, I didn't expect to have this such a young age. Oh my God, I'm hosting on live TV." And then it came a point where I was looking at people my age, and I got somewhat jealous. I think I'm like, oh my God, I don't really get to do this anymore. I don't get to lepak malam with my friends that much because I'm always tired because I'm coming from work like freaking late, you know?
Yeah, and for what you do as well requires like a lot of like, you're exuding energy.
You're right.
Yeah.
So for you, how was it like? And were your family with you in the States, or were you just alone there?
No, I went alone. Because I was like, you know, maybe they did want to come with me, obviously, you know, to like make sure everything is like all good in the hood, right? But I was like, no, like I have to do this on my own. Like if I mess up, I have nobody else to blame but myself.
Right, right, right.
But if I make it, then I have nobody else to thank but myself.
Myself too.
You know?
Do
Yeah,
you have also
so
that kind of feelings as well, like homesickness, you miss your family? I don't think it's continuous, but I'm sure there came certain points where you felt that.
not really.
Wow.
Because I couldn't afford to do that. And also I'm very in the moment kind of person, and I think like that's why a lot of like people, especially friends at the time, you know, like because when I'm here, I'm always kind of like, you know, if I'm with them, I'm like there, I'm like present, you know.
Yeah.
So if I'm there, I'm also like present, and I'm the worst at like replying and
Keeping up with people.
technology, you know. So like, you know, banyak orang terasa lah, because like, you know, I'm constantly working. Like I was on tour for like 8 weeks every day, you know.
Oh my
like,
God.
And it was like hard to balance everything and kind of like be in the moment. And I think like that's why I said like, you know, at the time it got to my head a little bit, and I think maybe a lot of people may have like perceived it as like, you know, macam I selfish ke or something like that, you know. But padahal macam like no, I like legit macam terlupa, or I didn't have time, or ada sekali ni I lost my phone while I was on tour in Philadelphia.
Oh my God.
And then I proceeded not to have another phone for 3 months after that.
Yeah, okay, we're talking about that generation at that time lah kan. If it's this time
BlackBerry, still BlackBerry time.
Still BlackBerry, you kidding me? If now she can't live without her TikTok. If she loses her phone after 2 days, she needs a new phone because TikTok is the priority.
Kalau hilang tu, malam tu juga I pergi.
Malam tu juga, you're like, cannot. I just saw another challenge this morning. I have to do it. I haven't posted it up yet. Need to get a new phone. So you were saying about all these traits that you had back then, which probably is a personality trait that you also have now, in which, you know, you're not the kind that would respond fast on text and all that. So how else was Zee Avi in her 20s? Maybe things that you would say you have managed now, but back then, oh my God, you wish you weren't as fussy or as pushy back then.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people thought I was like a diva lah, actually, like truth be told. Like I think this is kind of the first time I've actually said it, because like, you know, I've done a lot of like retrospective thinking, and you know, but there were times where like I remember suddenly, like suddenly out of nowhere I remember like I said something and I'm like, oh my God, like who is that person, you know, like. But macam tu lah, you know, and those are the things that you could get away with if you were in your 20s, you know, like like things like that would not, like, you know,
you wouldn't think of doing that
now.
After
like
after
I wouldn't
that,
even think about saying those things, you know.
But
when you're in your 20s, you're reckless, you feel so strong, feel on top of the world.
You're right.
Everything's still tight, you know what I mean? So, and you know, like I think, you know, that's the difference. I think when I see a lot of people your age now, like you know, like the Gen Zs and the younger millennials, you know, and some of them have like such a good head on their shoulders, and really sort of like well evolved in like your personalities and things like that, you know, because I think like, you know, the internet and social media does have something to do with that.